Hey everybody, welcome to Active Self-Protection Extra. Today on John's Briefs with Terry Johnson from Firearms Legal Protection, and we're sitting here in the 338 Club at C2 Tactical. And today, I promised you last week when we talked about jury instructions, and those can be a little maddening, I promised you that we would talk about jury nullification, so let's ask the expert. Now more than ever, you need trusted coverage to help you win the fight after the fight. The company I trust and recommend is Firearms Legal Protection. They offer discounts on all their plans at the link in the description. I recommend the premium plan. All right, Terry, I know this gets batted around here all over the place, that the jury is not just an arbiter of the finder of fact, but they also stand in judgment over the law. And if they find a law to be unjust, they can refuse to convict somebody of an unjust law. That would be known as jury nullification. We've nullified the law.
Yes, and I kind of take a deep breath because that's something that we attorneys are not allowed to argue. And
of course not, right?
We take an oath, and we have to, follow the Constitution of the countries, of our state, etc. And we're not supposed to do that. However,
there's every attorney depends, right?
However, you can make a case without making a case for what you're calling nullification.
Sometimes that guy needed killing.
You can say that, or you can say something of, the judge is going to tell you what the law is, but you get to, and I got to be careful how you word this, but you get to decide whether or not this person broke the law. And you get to decide, and you put it right back in the jury's hands.
Right.
I've seen, and I'll tell you, many trials as I've done, I've seen quite a few where the prosecutor and I will come out and we'll shake our heads and we're saying, what in the world was this jury
whenever you
watching
put it in the
or
hands
listening
of a
to?
Jury, it's like a boxing match in the hands of the judges. You don't know what they're going to say.
And you get questions that come back. And you think you understand. It's like, okay, they're going this way. Oh, God, we feel great. And then they come back with a verdict that you don't want. And it's like, well, how did that happen? Mm-hmm. And, talking to jurors after, were they really paying attention to what was said? Did you, it gets
right.
really
Did you hear
maddening.
what I said to you?
Yeah. And I'll tell you, it's not just on the side of the defense, it's the side of the prosecution as well. Because you think you've got a slam dunk case.
Yeah, rock solid case.
And I've had the jury say, well, you know what? Yeah, I know what that said, but we just didn't want to find him guilty. Oh, okay. I'm not going to complain.
Right. As a defense attorney, you're clearly not going to complain about that.
Well, and that's the other thing, as you go down this road, sometimes people have got to understand the defense has another bite at the apple if in fact the defendant is found guilty.
Right.
The prosecution doesn't. In other words, sometimes judges and the rules will be bent a little more towards the people simply because this is their only bite at the apple if in fact the person is found not guilty.
Yeah. Then it's done. No double jeopardy.
Correct.
But if they're found guilty, now we get to appeal process of was all this done right and those things.
Right. Was this right? Were the instructions right? Was this objection proper? Was this evidence admitted in the right way?
And that's the bedrock of our judicial system. It says we want to make sure that innocent people are not convicted of crimes.
Correct.
I mean, not that has never happened and never happens.
Well, but you know as well as I do, we talk about trials and things, and just so your audience is aware, across the country, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 95-96% of all cases never get to trial.
No, they plead almost always, or dismissal.
Right. And here's the great thing about that. Think about it this way. If everybody demanded a trial, our jury system, our legal system would come to a halt, a screeching halt.
Right.
So it's nullification is very interesting, but that's a Hail Mary.
Okay, I can tell you the last time I talked about this with an attorney here in Arizona, with Mark Victor, in Arizona, jurors are, as part of voir dire, asked, can you enforce the law as written? Will you abide by the instructions as written in the law as written? And if you can't say yes to that, you're dismissed. And if a juror utters the words nullification in deliberation, it's a mistrial instantly.
Really?
Yeah, that's what Mark said at least.
Well, I can tell you it's the same in Michigan. If you can't, pretty much any state, federal court as well, if you can't follow the law as written. Now, here's the interesting thing about jurors, what do they have in mind when they get on the jury? Because I'm sure most of your audience, and I know I've gotten some feedback about this, some people are saying, my God, I want to be on a jury, and others are like, no, I don't. Quite honestly, it's not the point of will you be on a jury or not, or do you want to be, it's can you follow the rules?
Can you follow the rules?
Right.
And do they feel like because of your personal situation or life experiences or whatever, that you will be skewed towards one side or the other or unable to follow the rules in that case?
And that's the other part, it's just kind of like in baseball, a guy hits a ball, he runs the first, it's a tie, who does it go to?
Yeah, it goes to the runner every time.
Yeah, but what if we said, well, and this time we're just going to give it to the other side simply because I think they're trying harder or they need a break, or I made a bad call last time, I got to make it up on this time.
Yeah, can't do that.
No, so the big question is, can you follow the rules? And sometimes those rules take you down a path that will lead to, unfortunately, decisions you may not want to make.
Yeah, well, and I can tell you that, like, for instance, the last time I got called for jury duty here in Phoenix, I got called in a pool for a drunk driving case. And
right.
I got rear-ended by a drunk driver in 2000 and radically changed my life. I'd say for the better, but it sucked. And as soon as the defense attorney was like, hey, has anybody here ever been hit by a drunk driver? And I was like, yoink. And he was like, thank you for your time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm done. Okay, well, and now I could argue with him all day. No, I can apply the law. I'm okay with this, but his idea was, now that's gonna poison the well in his life against my client.
And we never, I can tell you in all the trials I've ever done, I've never gotten everything I wanted on a jury.
No, you never will.
If I, and then sometimes you got to hold on to that one person that you've got to turn to, and you got to look at them and you got to say, can you hold on to what you believe? Even if 11 other people disagree with you, can you hold on to that not guilty if you know it's the right thing to do? And when you do that, even when I do my closings, I look at every juror in the eye and, I want to get a nod from them on something that I am right, or they agree with me. I want them to hold on to their beliefs.
So I think that the concept, and I've looked through this a bunch, we've talked about it a bunch, this concept of jury nullification is an interesting one. Because it says, wait a minute, we can say, I'm not going to convict somebody of something that I feel is unjust. But if you articulate that, or if you articulate it wrong especially, you're going to get the trial thrown out, is what you're going to do really fast.
Yeah.
And when the judge asks, are you able to apply the law as written to the facts of this case, you have to be willing to answer that question. Can I do that? Yes, I can. And then say in the back of your head, you say, I can, and I'm also going to judge whether or not I think it's just to do so, and I will act in justice. Well, there's some logical stuff to think through there, and some ethical things to think through there.
There is, because again, at the end of the day, you and I have had these discussions. There are laws that you may not agree with, but you still got to follow.
But you still got to follow them. And there's plenty of laws I deal with every day that I don't like, but I still got to follow. But and I've also heard, seriously, a friend of mine, Lee Weems, who is part of the Oconee County, Georgia Sheriff's Office, in Oconee County, Georgia, there's literally a he needed killing defense. That they said, this is not self-defense, but the jury decided that guy needed killing, and so not guilty.
Yeah.
I'm going, now that's a pretty thin defense to land on. I don't think I'd want to do that to convince the jury that guy was a big enough scumbag that he should have been dead.
Yeah, but if you think about it, the way jury instructions and things are put together, we try and take out personality, we try and take out bias, and we try and just focus people on the facts. However, there comes a time when you stand up and say, this dirty guy this, or this no good guy that, and we bring it back in as attorneys. But again, the way the system is set up is to take all of that bias and everything out so that we just follow the law.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. So I will guarantee you that this video means that I probably will never be called for a criminal trial because of this. The attorney would look at that and go, that guy knows what that exists. Nope, he's out. not the least of which just the YouTube channels probably would do that. But Terry, it's a fascinating topic, but I think at the end of the day, what we have to say is if you're going to try to apply this, you better be darn careful.
Yes, and again, just so we're all clear, I'm not suggesting that you go in and try to nullify a jury. That's not what I'm saying. We were just talking about the concept.
We're just talking about the legal theory.
I had to put that asterisk on there because I don't want any problems with any state bars that I may practice in.
No, of course not. I mean, of course, the attorney is going to say, this is what we do. We follow the law. The law is written. The legislature decides what the law is. And if you want the law changed, talk to the legislature.
Bingo. I couldn't have said it better.
Right. But as a juror, as a good, sane, sober, moral person, you got to decide if you can do that. Terry, thanks for the knowledge.
Thank you.